Hello students. So today we are going to discuss the lesson Letter to God by G.L. Fuentes. So G.L. Fuentes is a Mexican writer. So he's best known for his works done during the Mexican Revolution. And he's a well-known writer. He had done so many works, and this is his most famous work, Letter to God. So at the opening paragraph itself, the main character of the story is mentioned. His name is Lencho. So he lives in an isolated house which sat at the crest of a low hill, which means at the top of a hill. So he's a farmer, and from that top of the mountain we can see the field, the farmer's field, and also a river. So there was everything there except rain. The earth lacked rain. So our main character Lencho was looking for rain, and that day he was so desperate that from morning he didn't do anything. He was just sitting there looking at the northeast direction in the sky. He was anticipating some rain. So finally the rain arrived after some time. So but this man was not doing anything else. So after some time rain arrived, and bulk of mountains came from the northeast direction in the sky. So when Lencho sat for dinner, there was rain, so he went outside to feel the pleasure of rain on his body, and he was so happy. He compared the big droplets of rain to 10 cents and the smaller ones to 5. So the reason why he is doing this is that the right amount of rain is very important to a farmer. It is the money. Okay, if the rain is too high, it results in floods, and if it is too less, it results in drought. The right amount of rain at the right time is crucial to farming because it is the harvest. The rain at the right time is the it depends on the quality of the harvest is dependent on that rain. So he was so happy that the rain arrived, and he was really feeling the pleasure of rain on his body, and his family was having dinner at that time. But suddenly something else happened. Hailstorm came. Hailstorms came, and his boys really ran outside to collect hailstones, and but after some time it's turned devastating. That it turned terrible. Like the hailstorm became terrible that he was so sad, and the next day when they went to the farm, they could see that there was only the whole field was covered with salt, and no flowers of the corn that had ripened on the farm could be seen. The flowers fell off. So this man got really sad, and he said that a plague of locusts would have left something more than this. So this locust is a grasshopper like insect. So they come in groups and they attack the farm and they leave. So when they leave, they could have done the worst thing possible. Like they don't leave anything behind. So this man Lencho is explaining that, like he's saying that there is nothing left now. A plague of locusts attack, like the locust attack would have been better than this, but now nothing is left. So he feels very sad here, and now the family's only hope is God. So this man is of immense faith. So he's a very hardworking man. He's an ox of an animal in the field, like it is described in your textbook. it is said that he's ox of an animal. You can underline that sentence, ox of an animal. And when Lencho's character sketch is asked, you can mention this point, that he's an ox of an animal, that like he's very hardworking and he's also intelligent. Why? Because even though he's very hardworking and he spends most of the time on the field, he has managed to learn to write. So he write a letter to God and he post it, like he put it in the mailbox after affixing a stamp. So after that, the postman picks up the letter and seeing the address to God, he's so amazed and he starts laughing, and also he shows it to the postmaster and both of them starts laughing. But the postmaster, after some time, tapping on his desk, says that, what faith! I wish I had the faith of this man who wrote this letter, starting a correspondence with God, which means starting a conversation with God. That much immense faith he has in God. So this man, like the postmaster, doesn't want to shake the faith of Lencho, so he decides to raise some money for this man. So this man had written the letter asking God to send him 100 pesos, because if God didn't send him 100 pesos, his family will suffer in hunger. So this man has written the letter like that. I forgot to mention earlier. Okay, so then the postmaster raises some money, and postmaster along with his colleagues raise some money, around 70 pesos. But textbook in the textbook that time it is mentioned that he is not able to raise all the 100 pesos, but he managed to raise a little more than half. That means half of 100 pesos is 50, a little more than 50. So he managed to raise that much money. So, and he also attached a letter with it with a signature God. So next day when Lencho came, he got this money, and so he counted the money. There was no surprise on his face. This is very important. Is a question that, was Lencho surprised to get the money? He was not surprised, but actual emotion what Lencho showed after counting the money is anger. He became really angry after counting the money. It like he asked God for 100 pesos, he got only 70 pesos. So immediately his brows shrinked, and he wrote another letter to God mentioning that he got asking God for the rest of the money, and he said, I got only 70 pesos, please God send me the rest of the money because it is very important to me, and next time please don't send it through the post office because the post office employees are a bunch of crooks. So that much immense faith this man had. So this is very important chapter, and in this chapter very important questions are, so Lencho compares the big drops of rain to 10-cent pieces and the small drops to 5s. This is a very important question. Why did he do that? Because the right amount of rain at the right time is very important. So Lencho was already expecting rain from the morning, and when rain arrived at the right time, he was very happy, and he was very happy that he could get a good harvest and hence good money. So he was comparing it to the money, like the big drops were 10-cent pieces and the small were 5. And another question is about the place where Lencho lived. Lencho lived in a very isolated place. The only house that could be seen there was Lencho's only. So his house sat at the crest of a low hill, and which was also isolated, and from there we could see the field in which ripe corn were present, and also there were they were having flowers, and also there was a river nearby. And there is another question that Lenjo says that a plague of locusts would have left much more than this. So explain the situation. So you have to explain who said it, from where. First you have to write where, from where it is, like from which chapter. So this is from Letter to God by GL Fuentes, and about you have to write a few lines about, if it's a long answer question, write a few lines about GL Fuentes, and after that move on to about a brief introduction about Lencho. Then write due to the hailstorm, Lencho's farm was totally destroyed. That's when you have to write the whole situation, and then say that that's why he says that, like, the hailstorm was so terrible that there was nothing left. His whole field was covered with salt. When they visited the farm next morning, it was all covered with salt. That's why all the flowers fell off, and that's why Lenjo is saying that a plague of locusts would have left something, because here nothing is present, everything is gone. And about, when asked about the character sketch of Lenjo, you have to write, he's a very hardworking man, he's a man of immense faith, he's also intelligent, and you have to explain this also, because he's a ox. It's mentioned that he's a ox of an animal, so from that you can understand that's a very hardworking man on the field. And then he's intelligent, because although he's a farmer and working on the field, he has also managed to learn to write, and also a man of immense faith. That's why he is starting a correspondence with God. He's sending God a letter, and his faith doesn't wither any time. So he's having so much faith in God. Then another question is, why did Lenjo say that the post office employees are a bunch of crooks? Again, you have to write it. This is from Letter to God, written by GL Fuentes, and about GL Fuentes and his most popular works. You have to mention, if it's a long answer, okay, mention some important points, and then a brief introduction about what happened, and then the proper situation. Okay, we will practice the proper answer writing in our sessions. Okay, so here I have to mention again the last paragraph in the story, that you have to elaborate it. The last paragraph, he came to the post office next day to collect the 100 pesos, but to his dismay, he only saw 70 pesos, and he counted the money. He turned angry that he didn't get full the 100 pesos that he asked for. Then he says to God that please send me the rest of the money, and when you send it next time, please don't send it through the post office, because the post office employees are a bunch of crooks. So that much immense faith Lencho has on God. Okay, so that's all. We can now practice the answer writing.